What I was trying to say, I guess, when I asked whether or not I'd be the only black lesbian on the film is, do you know that not only do we come in all shapes and colors and directions to our lives, etc., and are you capturing that on the film, but that even as a black lesbian, I wouldn't want to be seen as, this is how black lesbians are. I happen to be a black lesbian, and there are so many of us, of black lesbians, who live their lives in so many different kinds of ways that I was hoping that the film would be able to give, a broader spectrum of a black lesbian than just me. We both went into the marriage because it seemed that our understanding was that this is what we were put in this world, on this earth for, to get married and to, raise a family, et cetera, et cetera. So that we were just sort of following the rules. He'd get a good job, and I was a French teacher at that time and chairperson of the French department. And we would just progress in our careers, and we'd have a couple of kids and buy a house and, make our parents proud, grandparents. Our kids would be better educated. They would have more, more opportunities, whether it was to be in the Little League or to, Girl Scouts, all those all-American apple pie kinds of dreams.
What happened?
What happened? Wow. I discovered through my husband telling me that he was gay. I really had to, I think for the first time, I was in, 28 years old, that I felt like I had to live an adult life. Into a somewhat of a feminist head, a feminist understanding, or basic understandings that I had with one friend of mine, another female friend, very close, that we were not into letting men displace, one or the other of us. The friend relationship developed into something that was much more for me, because I began to get very excited about, a luncheon date or a dinner date or whatever, and increasingly as excited or more excited about going out with my friend Virginia as I would be about going out with a man. Everything that I was feeling was love. Those were love feelings, but love in the sense that I had reserved that word, the way that I said it to myself and the way that I felt it. Like that was the kind of love that was reserved between men and women. Well, I didn't know anything other than the feelings that I had for her, and that they were very real, and I didn't want to deny them at all. But I had to keep denying them over a period of time, because to come out and say to another woman, I love you, was like, you didn't do that. That's what the line was. You just didn't do that, and you certainly didn't act on that. Until I finally realized that I had to just tell her what I felt, because the feelings were getting, just unable to contain them. And so I did. And as I began to turn my life around and share it with this woman, and then the two of us deciding that we wanted to share a lifetime together and therefore to live together and so forth, there was never a point at which I was questioning how I was feeling about this, the rightness of it. It was always right with me from the moment that I chose it. Obviously realizing that, of course, I am a lesbian, and as far as, as innocent and naive or whatever as I felt about coming to this, the reality was, okay, you love another woman and the world calls that lesbian, and the world doesn't like lesbian. It is indeed a worldwide movement, that women are on the move in this world, that people whose sexual and affectional preferences are different are on the move in this world, and they're moving towards fuller and fuller recognition, and moving towards something that in the end will be redound to the benefit of not just women and not just lesbians and gay males, but to the entire human race. Because as I intimated in one of the questions before, I think there's a lot that we have to offer, that women have to offer to the world culture in terms of restructuring it in a more positive way. And I think there's a lot that lesbians and gay men have to offer in terms of restructuring the world culture in a much more positive way.